Good day, everybody. My name is Todd Standing. I'm the man who takes people out into the field and has them either live interact with or eyewitness Sasquatch. Thank you for turning into my Throwback Thursday video. I know it's Friday. I'm a day behind. Apologies. So I had to come out. Fortunately, I got to come out into the wilderness, and things got a little crazy and I'm a little behind. But let's do this Throwback Thursday video. It's going to be something very interesting. We're going to talk about, do Sasquatch steal children, human children? So I'm bringing this up because there was a letter that was written to me by this native lady who lives on a native reserve. She told me that the elders told her, and this is something I've heard before, and we're going to talk about this, that if you see a Sasquatch around, you should be concerned. You should throw a blanket over your children and remove them from the area, take them to safety. So she's been noticing and eyewitnessing a Sasquatch coming around when her children are out playing. And she wants my advice. So I'm going to go through some things, some scenarios today, and give her some advice based on my experience, because I don't know, this is just my experience and my opinions of what I know about Sasquatch, what I've learned from all the mentors and people that have been teaching me over the years, because she can't call fish and wildlife. Is there a book that she could reference? David Pilates' 411, probably scare the hell out of her, right? Because something like 411, which I know some of the incidents are completely authentic, and I believe his research is very impressive. I don't study bear kills. I don't study how bears kill people, because the 99.99% of the time I run into bears, nothing predatorial happens. It's very safe, and I follow certain rules. I don't study the death of things. I don't drive around in my car and study car accidents, because I'm not focused on that stuff. It's just how I choose to live my life. But anyways, should she be concerned? Well, first thing that comes to mind is, if Sasquatch wants to steal your children and you let them go out and play in the wilderness, which is what she does, it's going to happen. So if they haven't taken her children at this point, that's a very good thing. But there's more to it than that, obviously. So I'm going to talk about the Ruby Creek incident, because this reference even was very interesting to me, because what happened was in the area of Harrison Hot Springs, close to Harrison Hot Springs, which is an incredible hot spot. John Green and so many amazing researchers have spent their careers living in that particular area, because Sasquatch Provincial Park is there. It's an amazing spot. So a Sasquatch came around, and this is from my recollection of the story. He was acting, it was a male, I believe, and he was acting disorientated, strange. And so he broke into a container where she had salmon stored and started eating it. And what she did was, and this is in the story, is like this lady has told me, her elders told her, and this lady is I'm not going to name her name or the location, but she's nowhere near British Columbia. And she was given the same advice from her elders. What she did is she put a blanket over her children to cover them up and moved off to safety successfully. And apparently this was a very impressive encounter. She vividly saw the Sasquatch, and so it was written and documented. So this is many, many years ago. My native elder and teacher, Musqueam, who is a Northern Cree elder, I asked him about the story, and he said that that's correct. That's what they teach. That's something you should be concerned about. And it was, asking him why or how. A lot of these, when you live in the wilderness and you're like the native people do, and they survive in the wilderness, you just simply, when someone tells you the story, you just don't question it. You shut up and you do it to survive. And it's a little different than civilized people, because we have a tendency to be rebellious and not listen. And if you do that in the wilderness, if you don't listen and you don't pay attention to those who know, you die. You don't go to a place you're supposed to. You go to a place you're not supposed to, and you find out there's a reason why. There's a bear denning there. There's a mountain lion that lives in the area that's dangerous. So you pay attention or you don't survive. So something else I've learned a lot about too is gorillas, as an example, have a tremendous attachment to their babies. And this has been noted in books where gorillas, so this is my theory, so we'll go into the gorillas. So when a gorilla baby dies, the mother will carry her young for a significant amount of time and be very distressed by the loss of it. So my theory would be, in that a Sasquatch, I notice in the research, are extremely devoted families. Very, very devoted. I've seen that in the ecology. I've seen that in their survival. Totally dedicated family groups, or even possibly extended groups that would be larger, like tribes. And So if a Sasquatch female lost her offspring, perhaps she would go looking for a human offspring, steal the baby, and use that baby to replace her own offspring. So possibility, right? But then, of course, you're saying this is in a situation where Sasquatch would lose its child and go looking for a new one, which is what potentially might have been the case in Ruby Creek. It was a male, and he was after the food, but still, you see a rogue female, probably more likely than a male, that's lost her child, and she would want to, if she can't find her child, her Sasquatch baby is lost, perhaps she'd want to replace it with a human being. So that's a theory I would have that would sort of gel in that whole native assessment of putting a blanket over your child. But stealing, I mean, a Sasquatch child and a human child are going to be very different. And would a human child even survive? And I would think extremely likely no. So it would be, but can you explain that to a distraught mother that's lost a baby, lost a child, and just looks for another to replace it? So something very interesting. So here's some drawings and whatnot of the areas around in the Ruby Creek area. In John Benerdego's book, Discovering Bigfoot, people talking about their Sasquatch and what they look like. So yeah, very interesting. And would a male steal a child? I think that would be even, but I mean, we're talking about again, this is going to be so multi-layered. This isn't going to be some black or white answer. I'm just giving you some theories based on what I know about Sasquatch, based on what I know about gorillas. And what we do know, and this is really important, is in the DNA, and these are facts that are indisputable. Male Sasquatch have bred with human females and produced viable offspring that have bred back into the population. I've gone into this a few times, and it's only on the female mitochondria side, which we discovered just a few years ago. Think about this. So if a male Sasquatch breeds with a human female, or even just whatever, a young Sasquatch is born that's half human and half Sasquatch. If it's a male in a male-dominated society, like I see there's sexual dimorphism in Sasquatch where the males are bigger than the females will have to compete for a mate, in which case, if you have human DNA, you're going to lose. So, but if a Sasquatch bred with a human being and they produced a female, that female, boys like girls, right? We know how society works, and a male-dominated society thinks that half Sasquatch, half human is pretty. It's going to breed into the population, and that's why it's very plausible and impressive that only on the female mitochondria side is there human DNA and Sasquatch DNA. So, fact, the DNA is real. I've read the DNA. I've had geneticists confirm this. I believe it's 19 times. Human and Sasquatch have bred, and it's actually in the Sasquatch DNA. I don't know if there's pure Sasquatch anymore, because there's multiple tests been done from different individuals, and there may not be a pure Sasquatch anymore. But the fact remains that females have been taken, and can we even extrapolate that? Would a female possibly go off and breed with Sasquatch? But there are a lot of stories of human females being stolen by Sasquatch. I'm just going to roll with that as a possibility. You can deduce either way, whether you believe a human female would run off or even a male would breed with. Anyways, it's kind of a not very comfortable topic for me, but these are facts. This is something that can't be denied. So those are some of the things that I'll go through. I would personally, myself, I have a wonderful relationship with the Sasquatch that I work with, and I would be very uncomfortable having my children around a Sasquatch at this point in my life. Very uncomfortable. If I saw a Sasquatch coming around and my children were out there, maybe this is the domesticated side of me. My house isn't in the wilderness like this. I live in a city, so I'm a very domesticated human being. And as much as I think my group is amazing, and I feel, well, factually, the Sasquatch have kept me safe many times. They've literally saved my life on multiple occasions. So I feel safe when I'm around them. But my children, my son is 13 and my daughter is 3. I would not trust them around. I'm just maybe an overly protective parent. Actually, I'm definitely an overly protective parent, but personally, my 3-year-old and my 3-year-old female, absolutely not. I'm very, very protective of her. my son, I'm going to learn how I feel about the Sasquatch with my son this year, because I'm taking my boy for the first time out on an expedition with me. That's going to happen in August, just a couple, 3 or 4 months from now. I'm taking him out on his first expedition ever. He's coming out with another 13-year-old boy from the United Kingdom. I'm very excited about that expedition. And perhaps after that expedition, when they're live interacting with Sasquatch and whatever results transpire, I'll have a better perspective of you. But even the age, right? Taking a 13-year-old, taking a child even, let's say, over 9, I'd be a little more comfortable. But then again, I'm not comfortable with my child roaming around when there's bears and mountain lions. So, you know, it is what it is. That's my perspective based on some of the knowledge and some of the understandings that I have. And I hope that helps this very nice native lady who is having these things going on. And I'll do an update if y'all are interested on what happens to her maybe in 2022, because she's got some amazing stuff going on with the Sasquatch. There's tree breaks, there's structures, there's rocks being stacked, all things that I've experienced that are completely and very vividly Sasquatch behavior. So we'll see what happens with her. She just sent me this email recently, so we'll see what happens. And the winter is over, and we're coming into spring. So she'll have a whole season with the Sasquatch coming around and interacting with her family, and her children again. So thank you very much for tuning into my Throwback Thursday video. And there'll be Sasquatch Sunday. I'm live on Wednesdays, and we do Sasquatch Odysseys on Big Talk Tuesdays. So lots of stuff going on my YouTube channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. And until next time, take care.